Detective Comics number 22, written by John Layman, art by Jason Fabok. So, pretty much just a new arc, more or less. We open up with Batman having guns trained on him, and we explain how did we get here. So, turns out there were two cops. They were just on patrol, and one of them saw Batman's Batjet in the sky, and Batman jumping out, and they're like, well, his stupid cape, we decided, there's probably going to be trouble over there, whether it's him or someone else, so let's go and investigate. So they make their way over down this alley, and they hear two shots ring out, and the radio goes dead. And it turns out there were two cops already down this alley who are now dead. And so they see Batman standing over the body, and they just open fire. They shoot at Batman. Turns out it's Gordon who's doing this little interview with the cops afterwards. And he's like, did you shoot at Batman? And he's like, yeah, I shot at him. And I mean, nothing connected because he's Batman. But regardless, he took us down and he told us that we're making a big mistake and that's not what it looks like. But I think Batman is evil like that. So at that point, Gordon's like, okay, first things first, Batman didn't kill those cops. Secondly, he would have killed you if he had the ability to. Third off, Batman probably was protecting you from walking into the same trap that these cops walked into. So fourth off, mind your own business, officer. And so he says, all right, there's a cop killer. It ain't Batman, but it might look like Batman because the officers called in over the radio right before they were shot that it looks like Batman. So cop killer, Batman on the loose. So we then cut to later on. Bruce Wayne is flying onto the helipad of a building that is labeled with Caldwell Tech, saying how he doesn't like the man they're going to see. And Alfred's the one piloting, and it's like, just give him a shot, see what he has to say. So they get off the plane, and we meet E.D. Caldwell, who likes to be called E.D. or Ed. I don't like any of those names, so I'll call him Caldwell. And he's basically like, hey, great to meet you, Bruce Wayne. And Bruce is like, well, I would welcome you to Gotham, but it seems to me you've already bought all the ad space in our equivalent of Times Square. And he's like, you know me, businessman. So here's the deal. I want to buy Wayne Tech. What do you say? And Bruce is like, no. He's like, all right, sweeten the deal. I'll add an extra 0 to it. And he says, no, sorry, I'm not for sale. And Caldwell just basically goes on the whole capitalist thing of like, everything's for sale for enough money. And Bruce says respectfully, no, bye. And so he gets in his helicopter and flies away. And apparently his whole thing is that Caldwell Tech is a weapons manufacturer. They further wars and stuff like that. And Batman is not interested in having his company do that. So Alfred then steps in and is like, well, to play devil's advocate, all of the profits that he gets, he like funnels into improvement programs for the city. Like he's already given millions of dollars to Gotham and he's barely been here for a few weeks. So he's not that bad of a guy, Bruce. And Bruce is like, I'm sorry, you got something to say? He's like, just think maybe you might be a bit jealous is all. And so Batman then takes off and says, I'm going to go hunt that cop killer now. Think about what you said. So we see a random ass dude with a stupid like single lens headpiece. And he's being told, all right, go out there and make them suffer the way you suffered. Your name is Scorn. Which is not a smart name, but regardless, he crashes down onto a cop car, immediately opens fire, but it turns out, because of the events that happened last time, all the cops are buddy patrolling, so there's another cop car literally right next to it, and they open up fire on the guy who killed those cops, and then Batman just immediately comes in on the Batmobile, which is literally just the tumbler, like it doesn't look anything else, it's just the tumbler, and so it crashes down. And Scorn's like, oh, geez, you shouldn't be here yet. I'm out. And he starts to run away. Turns out one of the cops that got shot was, the other cop's like, oh, God, my partner. He would have been dead if it weren't for their sweet new Caldwell anti-bullets, like protective vests. Those are super awesome. And Batman's like, yeah, okay. I'll see you around then. Don't get too used to those vests, though. So he calls up Gordon, tells all the cops, look, stay out of the area. This guy's got a weird problem going on. He's dressed up in a cape like me. This is clearly one of my things. Just stay back and I'll take care of this. And Gordon's like, can do, Batman. So Scorn's running. He's freaking out because, again, Batman is not supposed to be on his tail for whatever reason. And he's basically just trying to waste time until his boss can come pick him up. And Batman sees this. He stops scoring midway. And we see that one of the cops, the cop who didn't get shot, has managed to chase them across rooftops all the way down into this alley and holds a gun to Scorn's head and basically says, like, I'm going to shoot him for what he did to those other cops in the car. Not my partner, but the other cops. And Batman says, no, like the number of killers and whatnot. And he basically manages to distract her long enough for a giant bat jet plane-esque looking thing to show up and unleash a hail of bullets on them, long enough for Scorn to get pulled up on a ladder. And Batman's like, all right, well, thanks for that, officer. Now I got to figure out where to go from here because I have absolutely no leads. Except he sees the gun that Scorn dropped and he decides to go with it from there. So then we see Scorn inside the helicopter and he's just like, I'm sorry, boss, I failed. I'll do better next time. And boss is like, no, dude, you think I'm letting you back out there? You sucked. And like, don't get me wrong, Batman getting in the way was a problem. But because of the way you acted tonight, my years of planning might have all been put at risk. You are a liability. Therefore, goodbye. And we see him crush this guy's like helmet in his hands, pick him up and throw him off the helicopter and say, Batman shall know my wrath. And wrath is written in special font, so you know that's his name. And we do get a little extra bit in there somewhere of them saying, like, oh, this guy was, like, arrested 3 or 4 times, police brutality numerous times, so he had a bone to pick with cops, and that's the whole reason Wrath picked him. Doesn't seem to really play into it, though. So either way, Wrath is kind of looks like Batman a little bit. He's on the cover of this. Not really, but maybe in the dark. So good enough intro. I'm all right with it. The fact that he's a cop killer at least sets him off differently than just your general homicidal maniac, but only a little bit. I want to see them really play into this idea of Batman versus Wrath versus the cops. Have it be like a 3-way thing where nobody is really okay with any of the other ones, but they all still have to play nice. Like Batman has to play nice with the cops and the cops also have to play nice with Batman. I like when they investigate that because it's weird. It is weird when Gordon has just all authority handed over to Batman, says you do whatever you need to do. I feel like if I were a cop, I would be like, seriously, man? That's not okay. But they never really explore that. So overall, I'm going to give this a, I don't know. It feels just like a core 7. It's not amazing, it's not great, but it is still a solid enough issue. The only issue I really have with it is that Wrath and Scorn are stupid names. They're just not clever names. It's just like they solely have those names so that Wrath can say the line of, quote, Batman will soon experience my full wrath. Like, it just feels like he's trying to work, like it's a party trick. He's just trying to work it into every line he can. So yeah, 7.